an incredibly tense series, Jorby. That's what I love about this major every time it rolls around. These players should just be sweating profusely and under so much pressure, you wouldn't know it from interacting with them.
You know, it's so funny, too, because Caveman Ben in that post-game interview is like, you know, typically we're usually very calm during games, but, you know, we were starting to feel pretty good at the end and the dancing started happening. But even still, like, I've never seen players so happy to own goal. Like, honestly, there's no other region in the world in Rocket League where you own goal and there's just a giant smile on the player's face. And that's just, there's something really special about that. You gotta love that. The energy is definitely really fun overall, but when push comes to shove, these guys get as serious as anybody out there, and Team Process kind of coming almost out of left field stacks. I mean, you got CJM, who's the striker of this team. He is 4th in the region in goals per game, and they've taken down Renegades in the lower bracket to get the whole way back to here against Riot. So they've certainly got something to their medal, and I can't wait to see what they got against Riot here in this full best of 7.
You can tell a lot about a team based on how they handle adversity as Laxon comes across to make the save. Remember, they were down in the series very early on against Renegades, and they dropped 2 goals in 12 seconds. I believe it was in game 2. And you thought, okay, you know, now the Renegades are back. This team everybody talks about, like, finally they're going to get through to day 2 and we're going to see the real Renegades. Not the case. Renegades, if I remember it, they lost that game after a furious comeback charge from Process. And now Process starts this series on the back foot. Walcott connects with Spydoge. And how good has Spydoge been throughout this major?
Yeah, you know, Yummy had the big brain call with the pre-show yesterday. It's like, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb when you talk about the best players in OCE right now. Spydoge might have to get his call. And he felt like in 2021, Spydoge has been playing the best he's ever been, and maybe one of the best players in the region. I think we've seen his productivity yesterday. I mean, how many goals did he score for Riot in that match yesterday? And Leduc is going to get the next one, but it's Walcott who's delivering dimes to his teammates.
It has to be a different player every game, every series. You have to have a full unit to make a run in a tournament like this, and Riot Gaming certainly has that. They're a team that I think a lot of people let fly under the radar for Lord knows whatever reason. They have tons of talent on the squad, and now you're seeing it all come into play here. Spydo's gonna calmly direct this out to the corner. Walcott will take over. Tell you what, Riot is one heck of a sleeper team. If you want to kind of make a pick from way out in left field, Spydo's throws one across. Nobody else is there, but it is still possession for Riot. Walcott tracking this on his own, and Laxon just barely got a piece of it.
Ooh, that was actually a really good touch by Laxon, too, to give Baked Potato a chance at the ball. And can I just say that I think it's absolutely hilarious that a guy named Baked Potato is a guy that plays Rocket League at a professional level. I just need to get that out there. That is absolutely incredible. And it works out, Stacks. It's a genius name because every time you beat a team that nobody expects you to, you're like, you just got beat by a baked potato. Like, it's legendary, a legendary name, but that is a legendary open net for Spydo's to shoot at.
Well, unfortunately, that potato is getting mashed right now. Spydo's adding yet another. This one unassisted. It's his second of the game. It is all Riot right now, at least early on. Yes, we have Doge, we have Leduc, we have Baked Potato.
It's the greatest field of names, man.
It is. But it is all Riot Gaming. 3-0 here in game 1. Dueling demolitions from CJM and Spydoge. And a chance now for Laxon to lead Team Process down the field. Trying to cut the corner there, and Spydoge still jumped in front of him and didn't take the ball with him downfield. This is a chance for CJM, who was great in late game situations all throughout yesterday for Team Process, especially against the Renegades. CJM for Baked Potato right down Broadway, and they're right back in it with still 1:16 to go.
And nobody able to challenge that ball. Leduc actually helped that ball get downfield. By the time his car touched it, the ball was already behind him. So it actually gave the ball more momentum than messing up the read for anybody else that was trying to make that save. It was going to be difficult to do. Nice job by Team Process. Get that first goal. You got a little bit of time that you've bought yourself now, and a good start off this next kickoff. If they can continue to press Riot here, we might be in for an interesting minute. Oh, and an interesting own goal. That is, you hope for redirects like this, Stacks. You do. And you get them, but they're never the way you want to go. That's a great shot.
You asked me something, I think it was you, maybe it was somebody else asked me, oh no, maybe it was the Chiefs. Hey, why didn't anybody consider Laxon like one of the best players in OCE? He's a player that didn't really get mentioned during the kind of roundtable discussion yesterday. Hey, you could score an angle like that. You should be one of the best. Wrong net, unfortunately. Baked Potato with a demo that ultimately turns into nothing. All it does is slow down Riot, and probably more importantly, it just angers Riot as Walcott has that ball picked off. Laxon will at least try to chase down Spydoge, but it seems like any comeback effort here in game one has gone by the wayside, thanks in large part to that own goal. Spydoge right through Laxon. This game looks on the scoreboard like a blowout. Leduc will make it even worse. It was anything but. This Process team, we know they can hang around if they get their opportunities. No, they are going to be a tough out for Riot.
Well, right now they're not looking like one.
No.
Laxon helping out Riot earlier, and then, I mean, they're just late to some of their challenges. Their positioning is just offset a little bit. Riot are beating them to the punch on a lot of these plays, and CJM will get the goal here. But a couple of touches they had earlier like this ended up either bouncing off the crossbar, or you had both second and third man that are just sitting around midfield, no one really willing to take a risk and commit onto the play. And so that led to a lot of dead plays and a lot of retreats back to the blue half. They never really got anything going, and then by the time they did, they ended up kicking themselves, and it just got worse. So we'll see if it changes in game number 2. Like you said, you don't get to this stage in the tournament if you don't got some sort of moxie to you, and they absolutely have that, but you have to show it here in the match.
It is a classic case, as we see so often in these majors in particular. The stats don't always tell the whole story. We were kind of talking behind the scenes all throughout yesterday about this, how a lot of the stats from the winter regionals didn't translate into what we were seeing on the pitch as the major rolled on yesterday, and now we're seeing it today. Riot's a team, they don't score a ton of goals. They don't have anybody in the top 10 individually in goals per game, but they have lit up the scoreboard at times. Meanwhile, Team Process, they do have a couple guys in the top 10, and it hasn't translated here. And I think what you're seeing is a case of, you don't get to run it up against, let's say bad teams once you get to this stage. Everybody is on their A game, and now you see the defense is really coming to play. And for a team like Riot that can score against defense at this stage in the major, tell you what, that could take you a long, long way.
Yeah, I feel like Team Process just had that same issue that Dire Wolves had early on against Mind Freak. By the way, another playoff team whose regular season results and stats definitely don't translate to how they play in a major. But Team Process, they just let midfield open for Riot to move downfield easily. And then it just became panicky defense after a while. They couldn't get solid touches. Solid contact was an issue for Process. So if they can just make solid contact, that's step one. Like, if game one doesn't go your way because you can't do that, then that's probably the easiest thing you can fix. Everything else will come after, but that's step one.
CJM trying to make anything happen against Walcott. Good luck. Leduc will send this away as well. So CJM, consolation prize, gets a full tank of boost. Look like he was trying to get a piece of Walcott. At least might have altered his trajectory up in the air. CJM rolling one through, and Leduc makes the save. They are not out of it yet. But this booming clip from Walcott, no, it goes right to Baked Potato. And again, it is Riot denied a clear out of the zone.
And Baked Potato was actually helped too from an attempted bump that I believe Leduc tried to put onto him, and it actually put him into position. Otherwise, I'm not sure Baked Potato would have gotten to that. and now they're just stuck on the orange half trying to look for a clear to give them some space.
CJM trying to get very creative, and he may have to be incredibly creative. He may have to innovate a little bit to try and get by this Riot defense. Spido's trying to play one through. He did kind of thread the needle, force this one all the way through, and Baked Potato is fortunately back to clear away, or attempt to. Now Laxon for Baked Potato. They'll put a shot on, token pressure if anything, and Walcott is up to the task.
Cool. Good 50, but then the miss from Baked Potato really doesn't get anything done. Laxon was tracking that ball. I'm not sure if he was going to follow Baked Potato's hit. He is going to receive this touch, but can't make contact. Spidos took it out to the side.
CJM, Bango, he was cleverly trying to win that challenge towards the net, and it almost worked out. Now CJM through the middle, at least got to this. One-on-one, but cannot get it centered. The duck did just enough. Walcott ran out of real estate, and Baked Potato missed the open net.
You got to hit that one. You cannot let that happen, because this is the result. Walcott gets a breakout opportunity to score, and it was easily done. No boost needed, and Laxon has no chance at it, Stacks. Walcott delivers for Riot.
That is a classic two-goal swing. Baked Potato has to have that. He missed. Nobody back on the other side after Laxon's beat. And all of a sudden, 1-0 turns to 0-1. Walcott got by Laxon. He's got Spidos coming on. Walcott was trying to at least either interfere with Baked Potato or maybe even get a redirect past him. Neither really worked out. That is kind of a break for Team Process. Can they take advantage of it? Walcott, great stop out of the corner and just dribbles that, literally spiked it right through the field past CJM. And again, the Riot defense holds off Team Process for now.
Oh, they're just stuck in this corner. That is not where you want to be if you're CJM. Oh my goodness, Baked Potato tried but failed to make that save happen. The CJM is just lost on the backboard here. There was no reason he needed to stay into that corner. It's better to just rotate out. When you have all three players playing that close rotation in one corner on defense, Stacks, more times than not, the offense wins. It's way easier to pick apart that weakness on defense because you don't have as much pitch to utilize on defense, and you're going to get squelched in that corner unless you play a little more laterally and give yourself some room to watch the play develop. Instead, it was just kind of a challenge it, without even kind of taking a step back and looking beyond the ball for a second. And if they relax the rotation for a minute, maybe Team Process pick up that save, and it's not 2-0, but it's almost 3-0 as a couple of shots are taken away, that one off the crossbar.
Yeah, the pressure just stays on from Riot Gaming, not letting Process breathe. And this is really the mistake that they've learned from Renegades. Do not let them get any momentum at all. They have stayed on them and stifled Process, at least for the first 9 minutes of this series. There was a little glimmer of hope in game one, but there was already a 3-0 lead for Riot. And they were able to continue adding to it, but Laxon gets this one to go. Playing bingo with the post, and it falls through.
I really like this play too. CJM, he hit the ceiling, and that kept that ball closer. If he gets any more power on that ball, CJM won't be available to make even a challenge on that play. But instead, because of that touch off the ceiling, kept it close, allowed CJM to come in and win that challenge by just a couple of pixel stacks for the goal, or Laxon, excuse me. And that was wonderfully done. A good follow from Laxon on the play, and a wonderful setup from CJM.
No faith from Baked Potato there. That ground pinch pass was intended for Baked Potato to make a run towards the net, and if he had, might have a tied game. Instead, they're gonna wonder what might have been as Baked Potato makes the save. Boy, he had to get on his horse to get there in a hurry. He did. Now Laxon looking for Potato again. CJM is lurking. Laxon's shot is wide, and Spidos will try and burn more time off the clock. Only 14 seconds to go. Do we have another epic finish here? Baked Potato kept it in front. Little chip is saved by Spidos. Oh, Laxon was waiting, but it never came to him. One last chance.
Potato.
Big Potato to tie, and it's saved again, halfway in the goal.
Oh, Big Potato. Oh, no. That is unfortunate for him. He hadn't had the greatest start to that game, but then started being a threat on offense, had those 2 massive saves as well to keep process within it. Oh man, and then just to miss it off the crossbar, and it always is an insult, Stacks, when the game freezes and it says you've lost and you see half the ball in the net.
Yep.
And all you can do is wonder what could have been.
Oh man, what could have been was overtime in game 2 on Forbidden Temple, and it just didn't work out by God, the slimmest of margins. We will not see that last shot there in the highlight package, but oh my goodness, they were just that close, Jorby. Instead, 2-0 to Riot, as Riot Gaming tries to now work on a sweep of Team Process. Again, Mind Freak waiting in the wings for whoever survives this lower bracket best of 7.
And that might come back to bite Team Process, Stacks. These best of 7s, they are marathons.
Yep.
And it can be really difficult to pull back from even an 0-2 deficit in one of these matches. You really have to stretch long on the mentality for it, and especially in this double elimination situation, a Big Potato is able to pull the ball out there for an attempted shot. The Team Process, they got a little bit more out of game 2 than they did out of game 1. So, but the turnaround has to happen now.
To win one of these majors, it is, as you mentioned, just grueling. When it's finally over, I mean, you feel like you've aged probably about 10 years when all is said and done. CJM throws one out to the corner. Baked Potato is there for it. Key, of course, don't get too high and don't get too low. Laxon trying to carry this out. Burned a lot of boost. Didn't have anybody going downfield with him. CJM got there kind of late. Baked Potato's involved in the play now. Good cheeky touch there from CJM, trying to hit Laxon and just never got the pass off.
Cool, good coverage there from Baked Potato again. Starting to heat up. He wasn't nearly that much of a presence in midfield in game number 1. Started to find his stride the back half of game number 2, and now Team Process are starting to rely on him as third man more and more. CJM slowing down Walcott there to put some pressure on Spydoge, and he missed the ball, but nobody is ready. Somebody has got to be able to punish Riot on that play.
Riot absolutely got away with one, and now they'll try to convert it into a goal. Very similar to how that they should have got scored on early in the last game and turned that into a goal very quickly. They don't this time. Big Potato shot is blocked away. Spydoge waits patiently on the back wall. Walcott with a big demo. Laxon's gonna have to spawn in and go right to work, and he makes the save.
Whew. There's some close ones for Team Process, aren't they? They had some of those in the last game too. And while the defense can look clean, this keeps happening to them. And they get scored on yet again. Riot are the drivers in this match. And Spydoge, great delay on that flick. You get the catch. The defense is already hoppy. They want to jump early. How do you take advantage of that, Stacks? You slow the play down. You watch the entire team panic in front of you. And Walcott has a net to shoot at.
He put Baked Potato right through the back of the net, and the ball followed not long after. 1-0 to Riot Gaming, looking to get match point here against Team Process, the team that, I mean, if ever there was a dark horse, these guys,
they're the one.
Of the teams left, they have to be the longest shot to make this lower bracket run and win the whole thing, and Leduc just comes right down the middle and adds yet another with 2 minutes and change to go.
Now, CJM just was in an unfortunate spot. Laxon had to make a tough challenge in front that he was already going to be late to. With that little, the ball, when it was hit into CJM, he was still landing, trying to recover, and just couldn't get back down in time, and that sent the whole rotation out of whack. Laxon had to jump quickly, and it's turning into Riot dominance again in game number 3. They have a lot of midfield, and CJM had to use half of his tank just to chase that ball down. And where did that get them, Stacks? Well, he's sitting downfield and he can move here now, but they haven't been able to transition like this very often in this game.
Baked Potato thought CJM was going to pass it off, and instead CJM just taped down the boost button. That created a double commit, and Leduc will take advantage, and it's Riot Gaming running all over Team Process.
Yeah, and if you're Laxon, that's just unfortunate. The ball does not pinch like that most times on the challenge. You know, he went back to grab boost, is thinking, you know, if Baked Potato loses this challenge, I'll have an easy play, or I can at least take the next challenge. But you don't expect a pinch coming over 100 kilometers per hour at you. Good luck grabbing that.
So Baked Potato and CJM will try to get this downfield as quickly as they can, at least give themselves a chance. Remember, they were down 0-3 in game one. They got that goal right around this mark as Baked Potato shot goes wide. CJM follows and puts one in. They made it 3-1 in game one. Then there was that own goal. Can they force a different result this time?
And I was thinking maybe that Baked Potato dump should have been a better shot, but CJM was in the perfect spot for it. They need better accuracy on these high jumps they get in front of the opponent's box stacks. They do make contact on these passes. Oh, that's in. Oh, Leduc. He sinks in his third for a hat trick off the kickoff. I mean, that's just perfect.
If that shot goes in after you try to turn the momentum around, at that point, you just like set the controller down. How do you come back from that? If that's going in, it's just their night. Spido, like a hot knife through butter, right through the defense on the ensuing kickoff. And it is all Riot Gaming in game three.
Well, I think Riot might be the talk of the region after this for the rest of the major. If they beat Process this handily in game four as well, and it ends in a sweep, I mean, Riot might walk through them the rest of the way. They can't stop scoring. Walcott puts in the 6th goal for Riot, and they might get the Brazil.
There is somebody who's got a very important job at Riot Gaming going, you know what? We made one heck of a decision picking these guys up at the last moment. Okay, let's see how far down the rabbit hole this really goes. Leduc looking for number 7, and it's blocked away by CJM. Laxon will at least clear this away. There's still a whole minute to go in a game that Team Process would absolutely love to forget and move on from. But when the dust finally settles, the reality is going to hit them eventually. They have to pull off a best-of-7 reverse sweep to stay alive in the Oceanic Major.
And, you know, back when this team was still Canberra Havoc, and they took a regional, you wonder if they have more in them, if there's more to this team, and they do get the Brazil. Walcott gets the hat trick. There's 2 hats on the field, one on a Duck and one on a Walcott.
I don't think I've seen a game where all 3 players have had a hat trick.
No. Well, I'm sure it's happened. We just weren't paying attention to it.
Yeah, maybe.
That's certainly possible, right?
There's still 30 seconds. I'm just saying. Here goes Baked Potato.
If I notice, he's usually scoring a lot of goals, maybe. No.
I know, right? He's slacking here. He's getting tied up with CJM with only 15 seconds to go. Baked Potato. Okay. You can tell it's 7-1. He just goes right to this and is like, I'm totally going to read this. Good luck. Final seconds will tick away. Will it remain 7-1? Spido seems to think it will. One last look from CJM. That just rolls aside. And Riot Gaming is 5 minutes away from a shot at Mind Freak to try and take out the reigning champs.
So what's the angle here for Team Process? How do they get out of this hole that they've now been dug down into? Look, the mechanics have not been consistent for Team Process, and they have to be to keep Riot out on defense. Players are getting caught on the post. Recoveries are slow. Touches are not solid. And it's 1 or 1.5 players during a push that's making solid contact on the ball. A player's not in position where they need to be. Somebody missed the boost, and now they're slow getting back on the rotation. Everything is going wrong for Team Process right now, and Riot are just taking advantage of it. They're not doing anything special. They don't have to be creative because the plays are just coming to them. They hold midfield for a little bit, and Process's defense just seems to crumble in front of them. The issue is simple for Process. The recoveries have to be cleaner. The touches need to be solid, and the rotations have to be clean. Like, it's so stupid saying that, but like that is what's happening to them right now. They're getting caught up in the and whenever that happens, Stacks, I just think that it's the mental game getting to them. Because these things that should be routine, and they are routine for players like CJM, Laxon, and Baked Potato, they shouldn't be messing up their recoveries on simple touches downfield or off the sidewall. They shouldn't be boxed out on plays where they should be winning 50-50s, but they are. It's not working. And it might be getting in their head a little bit, especially now that it's 3-0.
Oh, Leduc trying to get involved there with Laxton and maybe disrupt his effort. Laxton, great pass over to CJM, but that's cut out by Leduc. He just did not give him a lane to shoot through, and that is fantastic defense out of Riot Gaming. I mean, who just feel like a bully right now. They have everything going their way. They're just challenging Team Process to come at them, just so they can just kind of stick out their forearm right on their head, just like watch Team Process flail their arms at them, trying to reach them. They just can't right now.
Yeah, it's just taking them too long to do anything with the ball. They have to use too much boost to catch up to it, and they want to carry the ball. They want to air dribble, but their first touch is never clean enough to actually be able to conserve boost to have a push. And the team doesn't have any faith that anything's going to happen to the air dribble. So you see second and third man sitting beyond the midfield line. The offense is completely disjointed. They aren't feeling it right now. You can understand why. Riot came and punched them in the mouth in game number 1. Walcott scored the very first goal, 13 seconds in, I think? It didn't take very long.
Quick.
And that never stops for Riot. They just kept scoring, Process kept missing, and this is still going that way. Look, here comes Walcott again, and he almost found the goal off of CJM.
CJM got the demo on Spidos. That still kind of threw things off a little bit, but it's going to work out for Team Process. We talk about them like we're writing their obituary. Not quite yet, but Laxon not able to make the save, and Leduc does have Riot in front in game 4.
Not quite yet, but maybe close coming. Walcott, perfect touch. He's just falling down with it for Leduc to take the shot, and all Laxon could do was wait. He sees Walcott, and it looks like he gets tunnel vision a little bit, looking for Walcott, waiting for him to push down with the ball, but he never really sees Leduc until it's too late. At that point, you still have to guess about where he's going to put that ball, and of course Leduc puts it in the most uncomfortable spot that he could have for Laxton to try to make a save.
CJM couldn't follow that, nor could Laxton, so he has to stay back, but he may have a chance now as Spido's off the field. Baked Potato's shot is saved by Walcott. The pressure's got to stay on here. They have to come away with a goal out of this trip down the field, and it doesn't look like they're going to. Leduc, big clear past Baked Potato. Laxton in a tough spot. Has to follow this up. He does. CJM has a lane, and he pushed it to the corner.
Oh, even there. It's a good touch by Walcott. You force Laxton to have to make a perfect touch in that situation by just letting that one rip because of how close he is. And he got the touch, but it wasn't the one he wanted. You'd rather be able to push towards the back wall and start to put real pressure downfield. But instead, it's Leduc pushing with Walcott, and it's basically just business as usual for Riot.
Boy, expect the unexpected, even with all the great background info that you can get when you get ready for an event like this. Big shout out to Basin CC over at Oceanic as well. Cisco's across around the corner. You cannot prepare for a series like this. Following the series we just had between Mind Freak and Direwolves. Laxon going one across. At least Process is hanging around. CJM got around one. Walcott snuffed out the attack again. Baked Potato has to get back. Barely does. Still nobody at the net, but that's a great touch by Laxon. CJM does all he can to keep the play alive, but Baked Potato cannot really get by Walcott. This could be an opportunity, though, and Laxon just a little slow to the punch. Boy, Spidos, sure, he's not filling up the scoreboard like he normally does, but man, his presence has been felt in this series.
Well, the only important touch, Stacks, is the next one, and he missed that one. Big Potato shot is good, and Spy Doge's whiff turns into Team Process's tying goal.
After all of this, we were writing their eulogy, we were writing them off. All of a sudden, they're right back in it. 46 seconds to go. Will we finally have an overtime after we had 11 minutes of OT in the previous series? Or will somebody deal with this in regulation? That was dangerous out of Walcott. Big Potato had CJM at midfield, but Leduc took him out of the equation. Big bump, and Spido's shot goes through. Walcott, absolute savagery.
Spidoge called in reinforcements, and the artillery strike mid-air collision from Walcott. When you can't score yourself, just tackle him in midair. Beautifully done by Walcott. That is not easy to do. He launched early to go for that bump, but that was exactly what he meant to do as soon as he launched from the ground, Stacks. He had no other play on his mind other than to take that player out and open up the lane for Spy Doge. Excellently done from Walcott at the very end for Riot.
Important touch from CJM leads to that out of Laxon. 4 seconds left. Walcott trying to ground it. CJM one last shot and it's saved away. And that is the series, a running Riot through the lower bracket. And it's Riot getting Mind Freak, the reigning champs, next.
Wow, Riot, what a statement match this was for them. Woo. After the last one we just got out of, Stacks, a crazy game that went back and forth. You weren't really sure which team you were going to get when they hit the pitch, but Riot were consistent from game 1 to game number 4, only conceding 1 goal in that last game, and that was from a hard push from Team Process that only went in because Spidoge missed 1 touch. 1 touch was the difference in game 4, but the dominance in the 3 games previous are what really built Riot Games' dominance up, and that is, I mean, that was a solid performance. There's really nothing else you can say about it. They're going to gather more fans and more people to look to see if they can be the next team to pull a Mind Freak.
Well, they'll have to go through Mind Freak to do that. That's coming up a little bit later. Next, we go to the upper bracket. Cringe Society and Ground Zero Gaming. One big best of 7 coming your way next as the Oceanic